Well, since everyone's here, I think we should bring up our lost comrade.
Mm-hmm.
After the end of last week's show, I got the news that King Spo-it, Scott Corcoran is his real name, one of our regular viewers who always posted King Spo-it in the house whenever he showed up, died. This is his, just back in May, he sent me this G.G. Allen. Graphic novel that he did. He was an architect who also liked to do painting and comics, and he was in a punk band called the Spo-its in the 90s. I think he still played in the 2000s too. And he was even on, there's a famous episode of, which show was it? Hold on, I got his obituary here. Jerry Springer Show. Where G.G. Allen made an appearance on the Jerry Springer Show, and they also had other punk bands, and the Spo-its were the other punk band, so he got to appear in the Jerry Springer Show and be outrageous. And he, like I said, just reading this is about G.G. Allen, who I've heard lots of tales of G.G. Allen before, but they're fun to watch. But in the back, he's got a little story, King Spo-it in the case of the disappearing microphone. So he's got his own little backup story of his days being in a punk band. And it's just crazy, the stuff went on. It is just crazy. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And it was his thing to try to drive unsuspecting audiences out of the place. That was his punk band, the Spo-its. No wonder no one has ever heard, none of my punk friends ever heard of them. Like, no wonder they drove everyone away. But yeah, he died. Just like I said, I'm friends with him on Facebook, and a couple of weeks ago, I saw something about on his Facebook page. Somebody posted something about him being in the hospital. Keep him in your thoughts. And then there was a picture of him in the hospital, giving him the thumbs up. Then at the end of last week's show, I went on Facebook, and there's a whole bunch of stuff how he died of stage 4 cancer of something. But just figured out we'd say goodbye to King Spo-it. And he sent me, what was the other one he did? He sent me a couple of the comic size stuff. This is bigger. This is graphic novel size.
Elvis Chicken, that
was it. He sent me that one. He did too. And I think he was working on another issue of that. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I think Sequential Geek would like Elvis Chicken.
Yeah, oh no, terrible. Yeah. Sad news, right? We don't have that many watchers that we can lose any to. You put that on full screen? Sure. Let's put that on full screen for you.
A couple of weeks ago, one of the guys who was there it is.
There's GG. We'll show you some of the. There's lots of nudity on the inside. There's GG walking down Manhattan. There's naked GG doing his show. For those of you who don't know about G.G. Allen, he used to take a dump during his show and throw it at the audience. So, King Spo-it, there's the back. Good book, too. And this is what I call just get it done artwork. He's not being precious about it. He just kind of wants to make a comic. So he knocks it, he gets it done. And I enjoyed it. Sorry to see him go.
Yeah, we've been losing a few of the internet people. A few weeks ago,
he was
one of the one of the regulars on the regular guest on the Thinking Critical channel. He also had his own YouTube channel, Skip and Tosh. He also died of cancer, and he was 37.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And it's a shame because he was really enthusiastic about modern stuff, which is not something that most of the YouTubers do nowadays. Huh. They get more views out of doing drama, but Skip was actually a fan, and it was a kind of a shock for everyone.
What chicken, Costa?
Yeah, no, Elvis Chicken.
Chicken. That was another one of his comics. I don't know if you can get his comics anywhere now. King Spo-it did draw this, yes. He was an architect and a punk rocker and an artist. I think he did sculpture too. I've seen a lot of his sculpture on Instagram. You can find him on my Instagram and see his sculpture too. I think he goes by Scott Corkern, Corkern, is his actual name, but he usually goes by King Spo-it. I think he may go by King Spo-it on Instagram too. He went by. Kind of reminds me of Gary Panter art. Yeah. Speaking of REP, this is what I decided I was going to do tonight for King Spo-it. This is now the comic book equivalent of pouring one out for your homies. I'm going to, instead of pouring one out, I'm going to rip up a comic. And I have picked Batman Incorporated #3 by Grant Morrison and Chris Byrne, a comic I like because I didn't want to do a comic I didn't like. With my favorite Batman identity matches Malone on the cover. Well, I often wonder, do you think people took Matches Malone seriously? Because no one gave him that nickname. Batman had to come on, think of, who do I want to be? Somebody with a gimmick. Matches Malone. He'll light matches with his thumb all the time. That's what I'll do. Matches Malone. And do you think he just showed up lighting matches with his thumb saying, my name is Matches Malone? And everybody just went, cool, your matches. Or did they just go, what the hell is this?
No, especially because his job is setting up criminals with gigs. And Bruce Wayne is setting up. If he gets a reputation, he needs to set up the criminals with gigs that actually work. So what? Is he giving criminals work?
Cool. I would check it out. Yeah, rip the hell out of it for him. Very punk rock. So yeah, like I said, this is actually pretty good. If you've never, I'm not a huge Grant Morrison fan, but this series, Batman Incorporated, is actually pretty good, and it's funnier than I ever thought it would be. He's doing a lot of Silver Age riffs, and some of it is just funny. But here we go. We're gonna go full screen. Here we go. We'll rip one up for King Spo-it. Can I get it? Oh my goodness!
Can you rip a comic
so long? I can't even rip it.
The unrippable comics.
Here we go. We'll rip that. We'll rip this up for King Spo-it. See if we can go this way. There we go. We're pouring one out for him.
Yeah. Well, we've finally done it. We've read comics, we've slapped comics, and now we've ripped the comic.
That's for you, King Spo-it. To mark your passing or ripping up a comic. Now this guy's staring at me. Cool art in that Batman. Yeah. Rip. Always look on the bright side of life. Now rip a Mr. X.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking about that, actually. I was actually thinking about ripping a Mr. X. I was thinking about which Mr. X I should rip.
The one that was harder to get.
They're all pretty easy. Actually, those Mr. X's are probably easier to get than this, even though it's a Batman book. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to rip one I actually liked rather than one. If you didn't see, Scott Connor suggested on our Cavern of Chaos group, which one? X.
No, Youngblood #1.
Youngblood #1. I'm like, I don't know if that would honor anybody ripping off a Youngblood.
Yeah, no. What I do a few years ago, there was a guy advertising a slabbed Brigade #2 on Twitter, and you wanted $89 for it. And so what we should do is we get that slab. You break the slab with a chisel and a hammer, and then use the bits from the plastic bits from the slab to rip the comic.
There's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was cool. Glad you liked it. I hope Scott liked it too, wherever he might be. King Spo-it in the house. Whee!
Jesus.
I haven't ripped up a comic in a long time. Great way to honor his memory. I hope so.
It was that, or we would try to sneak in a dolphin into one of our production things, and that would probably get us fired.
I can also show you when he sent me that G.G. Allen. I'll show this again. He drew this portrait of me with a couple of inside jokes from the show. Furry spawn, dolphin spawn, 2 spawns. So this was the envelope he sent me with G.G. Allen in it. Which is, he just sent me this too, and let's see what's the date on this. I think it was just May. I don't know what the date. Oh, yeah, 5/16/23. This was just mailed. So I was like, wow. It took them fast. Took them fast. Mm-hmm.